Hare Krishna. My name is Amrita Devi Dasi. I am a disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and I'm so happy that you want to study the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In this video, you will learn about Krishna as the super soul, both within and without. You will learn about the science of self-realization. We will read portions of chapter 10 in Bhagavad Gita. And most importantly, you will learn how right now you can begin devotional service without changing your activities. Let's get started. Start with the introduction. If you know these prayers, please sing along with me. Om Jnanatimirandasya Kyananchana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Tatati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translations. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? I offer my respectful obeisances unto the feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunatha Dasa and Raghunatha Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhara, Srivasa, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnav devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees. and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. I offer my obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasa, and all others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna. I'm going to begin with text 7. I'm imagining that most of you have somewhat of an idea of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So I'm going to just go into text 7. And if you like, or if you don't have an idea of the Bhagavad Gita, you can read, I recommend you read the first chapter and even the setting the scene, the prelude to the Bhagavad Gita. Karpanya dosho patas svabhava prichami tvam dharma samudacheta yastreya shanishtitam bruhitam me shishyaste hamsali mam tvam prapanam. Srila Prabhupada has very kindly given us the word-for-word translations to the texts in Srimad Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam and the numerous other books that he has given us. Translation. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain, what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Gopala Krishna Goswami Nitinam Prabhu Padasya Sahitamya Prakasha Vitaracha Pacharam Katvan Sadhu Bhagavat Padaya Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Deshatarine. Hey, what is so wonderful about this verse is that Krishna is acknowledging that he is confused and he is asking Krishna to guide him. He is saying, now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. This is a very wonderful prayer. It's one that we all can pray at any time. And I want to elaborate on it in the sense that Krishna is the guiding guru from within, and from without, he is the acharya, the guru from without. So this is text 14 of chapter 8 on the right side of the screen. Chapter 8, Canto 1 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm going to reference other verses to help you get a clearer understanding of Krishna as the guru. The Lord of supreme mysticism, Sri Krishna, resides within everyone's heart as the Paramatma. As such, just to protect the progeny of the Kuru dynasty, he covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy. Report. The Lord is the Lord of supreme mysticism can simultaneously reside within everyone's heart or even within the atoms by his Paramatma feature, his plenary portion. So maybe we'll read the purport and then we can elaborate more on Krishna as the guiding spiritual master from within. Srila Prabhupada's purport, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. By nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. And every step there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life, which happen without our desire. They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place and we become perplexed. The Vedic wisdom, therefore, advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. One should not, therefore, remain in material perplexities, but should approach such a spiritual master. This is the purport of this verse. In this paragraph alone, Srila Prabhupada writes bona fide spiritual master 3 times. And he mentions that a spiritual master must be in the disciplic succession. So this is a very important point, and I'm going to elaborate it on just a little bit. I think we'll go to the Nectar of Instruction. By the way, I'm using the Database. It's an online source with Srila Prabhupada's books, and it's a great reference tool. It's a great way to read the books if you are needing to source something quickly, or if you just don't have a copy of the particular book that you want to read. So text 1 of the Nectar of Instruction reads as follows. Vichovegam manasa Vichovegam manasa krodavegam Jiva vegam udaro pashtavegam Etan vegam yo vishaheta vidira Sarvam apimam kritivim sashishyat. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Accepting and initiating a Diksha spiritual master is something to be taken very seriously. The spiritual master should be tested in the sense that should be observed. The spiritual master should be observed for some time, and it should be noted whether or not the spiritual master, what they say, walks the talk, can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals. The spiritual master should be in a line with the Shastras. Guru, Sadhu, and Shastras, the devotees of the Lord, the great sages, the Guru, and the Shastras are aligned, that you can they should all match up. It's very important to choose the spiritual master carefully and to make oneself qualified also. But in this talk, I'm discussing the importance of the spiritual master, and therefore I want to start by saying, be careful to not take this cheaply. There may be anyone who calls himself a guru, but who is their guru and who is their guru? There should be a disciplic succession, and they should be able to demonstrate that they are qualified. We should see by listening to them and hearing their classes, observing their activities, that they are qualified to be a spiritual master. Okay, the next paragraph. Who is the man in material perplexities? It is he who does not understand the problems of life. In the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad 3:8-10, the perplexed man is described as follows. He is a miserly who does not solve the problems of life as a human and who quits this world like the cats and dogs without understanding the science of self-realization. This human form of life is a most valuable asset for the living entity who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. Therefore, one who does not utilize this opportunity properly is a miser. On the other hand, there is the Brahmana, or he who is intelligent enough to utilize this body to solve all the problems of life. In this paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing the importance of the human form of life. The human form of life comes with a great responsibility. The animals do not get karma for their bad reactions. The animals do not have any ability to ask important questions like, who am I? Why am I suffering? What is the goal of life? These questions are able to be asked by one who is in the human form of life. And that comes with a great responsibility. In the Ishopanishad, it is elaborated on further that this responsibility of human life is not merely for material education. While material education is important, so is spiritual education. And the two should be cultivated simultaneously, side by side, like two rails on a train track. We need them both for the train to go along smoothly. Similarly, we need to have material education and spiritual education to be able to maintain the body and to be able to cultivate our relationship with Krishna. So this science that Srila Prabhupada is referring to here is the science of self-realization. And the science of self-realization is in relation to our relationship with Krishna. So the self, because we are eternal servants of Krishna, the self is always an individual, and as Krishna is always an individual. And by that individuality, there can be relationship. Without individuality, there's no sense in the word relating with someone else if we're all one. But we're all individuals, and therefore we have friendships, we have relationships with mother and child, with husband and wife, with parents, with so there's all sorts of relationships. And the relationship that we're talking about here is our relationship with Krishna, our eternal friend, our dearmost friend, our eternal associate. This is the science of self-realization. The Kripanas, or miserly persons, waste their time in being overly affectionate for family, society, country, etc., in the material conception of life. I want to straight away point out the word overly. So when we hear the word overly, we know it's too much. And how do we know when something is too much? It's because it has an ill effect on us. If we have too much to eat, we're going to feel sick. If we are too affectionate for family, society, and country, what is that ill effect it has on us? Krishna is telling us, Krishna is telling us to offer our respectful obeisances to him, to remember him always. And if we're able to do that, if we're able to remember Krishna always, then it's not too much. Oh, here we go. So Krishna should always be in our minds, either in the background or in the forefront of our minds, but never absent from our minds. Krishna is telling us, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. He also says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 65, I believe that I might have had it up here, that we should always remember him. We shall offer our obeisances unto him. We should think of him always. So if we're able to do that, then it's not too much. The main instruction, the main thesis of the entire Bhagavad Gita is to remember our loving relationship with Krishna and to offer everything we have to him. If we're able to do that, if we're able to work in Krishna consciousness, then it's not overly. But if our affection for our family, our society, our country, or anyone impedes with our Krishna consciousness, then it's overly, it's too much. Okay. One is often attached to family life, namely to wife, children, and other members on the basis of skin disease. The Kripana thinks that he's able to protect his family members from death, or the Kripana thinks that his family or society can save him from the verge of death. Such family attachment can be found even in lower animals who take care of children also. Being intelligent, Arjuna could understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death was the cause of his perplexities. I just want to add a little balance to this. What Prabhupada is not saying is that Arjuna should not have any affection or want to protect his family, because it's the duty of a parent to protect their children, and we're not saying that one shouldn't do that. In this situation, Arjuna is being asked to go to war with his forefathers, his great teachers, his cousin brothers, and that is such a difficulty that he's lost composure and he doesn't know what to do. Even though Arjuna is being instructed by Krishna, he's having difficulty doing so. Although he could understand that his duty was to fight, that his duty to fight was awaiting him, still, on account of his miserly weakness, he could not discharge his duty. He is therefore asking Lord Krishna, the Supreme Spiritual Master, to make a definite solution. He offers himself to Krishna as a disciple. He wants to stop friendly talks. Talks between the master and disciple are serious. Now Arjuna wants to talk very seriously before the recognized spiritual master. Krishna is therefore the original spiritual master of the science of Bhagavad Gita. And Arjuna is the first disciple for understanding the Gita. How Arjuna understands the Gita is stated in the Gita itself. Yet foolish, mundane scholars explain that one need not submit to Krishna as a person, but to the unborn within Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna's within and without. And one who has no sense of this understanding is the greatest fool in trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita. This is a very important subject matter as far as how to receive the Bhagavad Gita. If one does not want to accept the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that is his free choice, and that's fine. However, what is offensive is to say, See if I read this verse, that Krishna is the Paramatma that resides in everyone's heart. If I read that and I decide that I don't like it, and then I change it to mean something different, to fit my own needs, my own wants, rather, that's offensive. Srila Prabhupada has given his purports to elaborate on the translations. And he's also given us the word for word meanings of the translations. So we can look into that if we have some question about what is another meaning of a word. Like the word Purusha has many meanings. It can mean person, it means the predominator, it means enjoyer. And in different texts, we can see Srila Prabhupada has given a different meaning to that word. But what he's also done, most notably and importantly, is he's given us the word for word translation and the translation, followed by his commentary, to help us have a better understanding. So if we don't want to accept something that Krishna has said, that's everyone's choice to not do so or to do so. But it must not be that we say, well, Krishna is not really a person, even though he's saying, man mana bhava mad bhakto, me, I. He's talking about himself as a person. He's standing on the battlefield with Arjuna as a person, as an individual. If we don't like that, we don't have to accept it, but we must not concoct something random that fits our desires. That would be most offensive. Okay, text 8. I'm just going to go straight to the translation so we can get more covered here. Arjuna is saying, I find no means to drive away this grief, which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it, even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth, with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. So Arjuna is having a very difficult time discharging his duties. If any of us have struggled to perform our responsibilities, we might have an inkling of an understanding of what Arjuna is going through. But just imagine, he's being told to fight against his family members, to fight on the other side of the battlefield, where on the other side his teacher is there, his very affectionate teacher. He was the topmost student, the most favorite student of his teacher, and now he's being asked to go to war with him. It's very difficult. Actually, in that regard, in the Srimad Bhagavad, in the Mahabharata, Drona asked Arjuna that when it was time, he should not refuse to fight with him in battle. It's as if he was foreseeing this, because he was being supported by Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana's father. They were maintaining him and his family, and he could have he had some foresight where he could see that the conflict between the Pandavas and their cousins was growing. So he could see that there was going to be difficulty. And he asked Arjuna, please promise me that when it's time, if you ever have to, you will not refuse to fight against me. And Arjuna agreed to that, but he couldn't see how that would be possible. He definitely wasn't prepared for this. He wasn't wanting to do this. He's saying that even if I win an unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven, it wouldn't be enough to drive away the grief of fighting with his family and friends. Report. Although Arjuna was putting forward so many arguments based on the principles of religion and moral codes, it appears that he was unable to solve his real problem without the help of the spiritual master, Lord Sri Krishna. He could understand that his so-called knowledge was useless in driving away his problems, which were drying up his whole existence, and it was impossible for him to solve such perplexities without the help of a spiritual master like Lord Krishna. Academic knowledge, scholarship, high position, etc. are all useless in solving the problems of life. Help can be given only by a spiritual master like Krishna. Therefore, the conclusion is that a spiritual master who is 100% Krishna conscious is a bona fide spiritual master. Let me read that again. Therefore, the conclusion is that a spiritual master who is 100% Krishna conscious is the bona fide spiritual master, for he can solve the problems of life. Lord Chaitanya said that one who is a master in the science of Krishna consciousness, regardless of his social position, is the real spiritual master. It does not matter whether a person is a Vipra, which is a learned scholar, or is born in a lower family, or is in the renounced order of life. If he is a master in the science of Krishna, remember that is the science of self-realization. The science of Krishna is in relation to our relationship with Krishna. In that case, he is the perfect and bona fide spiritual master. So without being a master in the science of Krishna consciousness, no one is a bona fide spiritual master. It is also said in the Vedic literature, a scholarly Brahmin, expert in all subjects of Vedic knowledge, is unfit to become a spiritual master without being a Vaishnava or expert in the science of Krishna consciousness. But a person born in a family of a lower caste can become a spiritual master if he is a Vaishnava or Krishna conscious. Oops. So we can see the requirement here is to be Krishna conscious, to be a Vaishnava, devoted to Krishna. The problems of material existence, birth, old age, disease, and death, cannot be counteracted by accumulation of wealth and economic development. In many parts of the world, there are states which are replete with all facilities of life, which are full of wealth and economically developed, yet the problems of material existence are still present. They are seeking peace in different ways, but they can achieve real happiness only if they consult Krishna or the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which constitute the science of Krishna through the bona fide representative of Krishna, the man in Krishna consciousness. So we're hearing again and again that in order to be a bona fide spiritual master, one must be a devotee of Krishna. One must be 100% Krishna conscious. One must be an expert in the science of Krishna. And Krishna says that of all sciences, he is the science of the self. In the 10th chapter, actually, he says that. And I put it up here to reference. Yes. Of science, I'm the science of the self. Here we go. This is in the 10th chapter, which I'm going to read a little bit later, but I want to reference it now because we're speaking of sciences. So in the 10th chapter, Krishna is explaining how he is what he is in terms of the best of everything. He says, of seasons, I am flower bearing spring. So here he's saying, of all sciences, I am the spiritual science of the self, the science of self-realization. And who are we? We are servants of the Supreme Lord. We are individual, part and parcels, servants of the Supreme Lord. Okay. If economic development and material comforts could drive away one's lamentation for family, social, national, or international inebrieties, then Arjuna would not have said, that even an unrivaled kingdom on earth or supremacy like that of the demigods and the heavenly planets would be unable to drive away his lamentations. He sought, therefore, refuge in Krishna consciousness, and that is the right path for peace and harmony. Economic development or supremacy over the world can be finished at any moment by the cataclysms of material nature. Even elevation into a higher planetary system, as men are now seeking on the moon planet, can be finished at one stroke. The Bhagavad Gita confirms this. When the results of pious activities are finished, one falls down again from the peak of happiness to the lowest status of life. Many politicians of the world have fallen down in that way. Such fall downs only constitute more causes for lamentation. Therefore, if we want to curb lamentation for good, then we have to take shelter of Krishna, as Arjuna is seeking to do. So Arjuna asked Krishna to solve his problem definitely, and that is the way of Krishna consciousness. I'm going to read just the translations of the next two verses because they're so sweet. And I do want to get on to discussing about the spiritual master and about devotional service. But here we see Arjuna has surrendered to Krishna. He's asking him to instruct him. And now he's saying, Govinda, I shall not fight. So now he's gone from saying, please instruct me, I'm your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you, to saying, I can't do it. And what I love about this is it gives a really clear picture of the situation that Arjuna is in and how difficult it is. And even though he's saying, I cannot fight, I will not fight, he has gone with that feeling of being overwhelmed and unable to do his duty. He's gone with that to Krishna. He fell silent. So let's see how Krishna responds. It's one of my favorite two verses in the Bhagavad Gita. One of my favorite two are right here. Krishna speaking now. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. So this is Sanjaya speaking to Dhritarashtra. When you read the introduction or the setting the scenes, the prelude to the Bhagavad Gita, you'll learn that Sanjaya is a student of Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is a plenary portion of Krishna, an expansion of Krishna. He is the literary incarnation of Krishna. He's endowed with potencies. Krishna's put his energy, his potency in Veda Vyas to divide the Vedas. And also he is a teacher of Sanjaya, and because of that, he's able to see what's happening on the battlefield. And he's speaking and explaining it to Dhritarashtra. So we'll hear Arjuna speaking, we'll hear Krishna speaking, and we'll hear Sanjaya speaking in the Bhagavad Gita. So this is sweetly, supremely sweetly, how Krishna responds. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. What is so sweet about this? Let me just change the preference up here on the device. I'm going to go take off the verse text, take off the synonyms. Okay. Anchor on text 7. Okay. So we have, first of all, Krishna smiling, even though Arjuna is refusing to do his duty. Krishna smiles at him. that is the first part of what is so sweet here, is that smiling, Krishna responds. He's not frustrated by Arjuna's stubbornness, by his unwillingness not to do his work. He's kind, he's compassionate. And before he tells Arjuna what he needs to do further, he finds something to appreciate about what Arjuna is saying. So he's saying, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what's not worthy of grief. This gives us an insight into the person of Krishna, because he's hearing someone speak who's an illusion, who doesn't understand what is the right thing to do, who's become bewildered. And Krishna is all-knowing, and he's being kind. He's acknowledging something good about what Arjuna is saying, even before he goes on to speak to him and to correct him. And the reason I wanted to just read these 2 verses before going on is that this is a nice quality. This is a quality that we should try to implement ourselves when we are in society and we come across someone who's being a fool, or even if one of our children or a friend is doing something foolish. The patience that Krishna shows with Arjuna is the kind of patience we should try to show with others, even if we have to correct them and say, you need to do this and this because of, for whatever reasons. It's nice if we can start out by saying something nice, finding something to appreciate, and speaking kindly. So moving on. Here we go. I'm going to exit out of this. All right. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 15th chapter, I think it's in the 15th chapter. Let's see. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Remember, I had just said that Vyasadeva, who is the compiler of the Vedas, is a plenary portion of Krishna. He's an expansion of Krishna. So this again is stating that Krishna is seated in everyone's heart. And then over here, the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of material energy. I wanted to point this out because it can be a point of confusion. So here, Krishna is saying, I am seated in everyone's heart. And here, Krishna is saying, the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. So the distinction, or what I want to explain, is that Krishna, the Supreme Lord, expands as the Paramatma. So there's the oneness and difference. The Paramatma sitting in our hearts is not the same, of the same form, it's not the two-handed form, and is not playing with the cowherd boys or dancing with the gopis in Vrindavan. So almost entirely, the Paramatma is almost entirely having all of the qualities of Krishna, but a few less, but still is the same. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. I am situated in everyone's heart. You can see Krishna is referring to himself here in the first person. Here he's saying the Supreme Lord as the Paramatma. And so there's more. I did this. I searched the word he to get this point, because in many times in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna refers to himself as he, and that can be really confusing. I was confused by that when I was beginning in reading the Bhagavad Gita. I was thinking, why is Krishna saying he? It's really confusing. But when we understand that Krishna has expanded himself, this plenary portion, the Shaktivesha, Kishore Dakshai Vishnu, the Paramatma within the heart, then we can understand why he's saying he. So I'm going to read some of these. Krishna is saying, the supersoul is the original source of all the senses, yet he is without senses. He is unattached. Although he is the maintainer of all living beings, he transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of all the modes of material. I think if I click on that, it will go on further to say the material nature. Although the supersoul appears to be divided among all beings, he is never divided. He is situated as one. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all. So these are just snippets of verses. You can see, just like this one ended before the end of the sentence. This is how you can use the database to search something, and then you'll get to see where it is. Going down to this, Krishna is inconceivable, and that's one of the qualities of the Lord. No one of us can say that we are here and also there. We're the biggest and the smallest, situated in everyone's heart, but still the one supreme Lord. Krishna can do that, and it's impossible for us to completely, we can't put Krishna in a box. We can't completely understand, perhaps, but we just have to accept that this is what Krishna is saying, that he is within everyone's heart. We can have that understanding from within, but we can't prove it to anyone else. Krishna cannot be proved like a math problem can be solved. And if he were to be able to, if we could prove him to anyone, then that would be like saying that our understanding, our intelligence is greater than the Supreme Lord. But the Supreme Lord is the greatest of all, and no one can prove his existence to anyone. We can use our intelligence. We can accept the Shruti mantra, what is heard, but we cannot prove to an atheist the existence of God. Okay. This is, on this side, I have these verses here to explain about how Krishna comes as the super soul within and also as a spiritual master without. So this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Antya Lila, and it's the first chapter, and we're going to start with the 45th verse. According to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotee. One should know the Acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as the super soul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. Oh, my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied living beings by directing him how to come to you. Krishna wants so much for us to remember our loving relationship with him, for us to engage in pastimes with him, that he comes as the Acharya, the guru without, and the guru within, the super soul within. Mm. Mm. Here is another verse that talks about Krishna everywhere. Although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading, and everything is situated within him. So this is the inconceivable part of Krishna I was just talking about. He's in the spiritual world, so he's far away, and yet he's within every atom. He's within our hearts. He's very near. He's situated within everything, and everything is situated within him. Okay, so I'm going to close this one down. I want to talk a little bit more about Krishna and how he expands himself, right? So this is the Srimad Bhagavatam. I believe it's the third chapter. This is the third chapter, text 21. Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Parashara Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent. Okay, so I was talking to you about Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is Krishna, but there are different incarnations. There are Leela avatars, there are Yoga avatars, there are avatars that are imbued with some potency. So Vyasadeva is imbued with the ability, he's empowered. He's empowered with the ability, the literary ability, to give us the Vedas. So Krishna will say, I am Vedanta. And it's not that he's not. What it is that that's a plenary portion or a portion of a plenary portion, meaning that Krishna has all these qualities of fame, beauty, renunciation, wisdom, strength. And Vyasadeva has some empowerment. He doesn't have all of those powers. He's not the most opulent. He's not the most beautiful. So he doesn't have all of the qualities that the Supreme Lord has, but he is a plenary portion of the Supreme Lord. Okay. And now I want to elaborate more on devotional service, because as I said earlier, the main thesis, the purport of the Bhagavad Gita in whole is that in order to understand Krishna, we must be in loving relationship with him, 100% Krishna conscious. So I'm going to reference some verses from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in that light. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. The Supreme Personality of Godhead and his plenary portions cannot be understood by mental speculation nor by non-devotees. If anyone wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has to take to pure devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee. Otherwise, the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will always be hidden. As already stated in Bhagavad Gita 7:25, he is not revealed to everyone, no one can understand God simply by erudite scholarship or mental speculation. Only one who is actually engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service can understand what Krishna is. University degrees are not helpful in this. So, yes, we must gain our material education, and the Ishopanishad elaborates on that further. And alongside that, we must gain our spiritual education. It means we must develop our relationship with Krishna if we want to be happy in this life. then there's no other way to do it. Real happiness is in our loving relationship with Krishna. And how do we do that? How do we develop our relationship with Krishna? By devotional service. And how do we engage in devotional service? Krishna is saying that whatever you do, you offer it to me. So it's not that you stop all of your activities. Whatever it is that's your duty, you continue to do that. You do it as an offering to Krishna. What does it mean to do it as an offering to Krishna? Whatever you're doing, just change who you're doing it for. So if you're striving to have a high GPA, to get an A, to build something or to prepare something, do it for Krishna. It means before you begin, remember Krishna. Remember a verse of the Bhagavad Gita, or simply pray if you don't know a verse. Lord, please accept this as an offering to you. Not that I have a 3.97 GPA and I'm just, such a far out student and I have a full scholarship and I did all this hard work and it was all by my hard work. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't do hard work. I'm saying that we should understand that Krishna is the doer. He gives us the intelligence or the forgetfulness. We must work as though it depends on us, while understanding that it really depends on the Supreme Lord, that all of our ability comes from him, and therefore use your ability for Krishna. Offer everything to him. When you do well at something, remember that it came from Krishna. When you supposedly fail at something, don't blame the Supreme Lord, but thank the Lord for the lessons that you got from that experience and strive to do better. Okay, in this verse, text 47, this is in the Bhagavad Gita, and this is leading into how we have freedom to choose our occupations. And Krishna has given us all the propensities that we have. All these interests or these abilities that we have come from Krishna. So he's saying here in the Bhagavad Gita, it is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful activities. Sometimes people ask, how do I know what my duty is? How do I know what I should do? Well, the first verse that I read was text 7 of chapter 2, where Arjuna is asking Krishna to please tell him what he should do. Please tell him for certain what he should do. So if we are ever in that situation, or I should say when we are in that situation, simply by asking Krishna, so much clarity comes. Bring your mind, bring your attention to the Supreme Lord and ask him, what's best for me? What should I do? And also acknowledge what is the obvious. What are the propensities that you have? If you are not interested in science and medicine, then don't become a surgeon just because it's a high-paying job. Whatever it is that Krishna has endowed you with, whatever your gifts, your interests are, develop them. And then from those, choose which one that you want to do as an offering in society. You may have many gifts. You may, for example, love to play guitar. You may love cooking. You may love being a parent. And you may also love being a teacher. I'm just using these random examples, but the point is, it's not that you wouldn't develop all of those, because those are all gifts that Krishna gave you. And whether or not you get an income from them, they will bring you joy. You were given these propensities by the Supreme Lord. And it's an expression of gratitude for you to develop them, for you to engage in those activities as an offering to Krishna. That doesn't mean that you're going to make your income by being a cook or playing guitar or being a teacher or being a parent. It's one of those that you should choose. One of those things that you have an inclination for that you should choose. And the rest of them continue to offer to the Lord. Continue in those activities. So, Srila Prabhupada's purport. One's occupational duty is prescribed in Bhagavad Gita. As already discussed in previous verses, the duties of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra are all prescribed according to their particular modes of nature. One should not imitate another's duty. A man who is by nature attracted to the kind of work done by a Shudra should not artificially claim to be a Brahmana, although he may have been born in a Brahmana family. In this way, one should work according to one's own nature. No work is abominable if performed in service to the Supreme Lord. No work is abominable if performed in the service of the Supreme Lord. Okay, so whatever it is that you like to do, whatever natural abilities you have, know that those have come from Krishna. And your existence can be purified when you offer those to Krishna, when you're not doing them for your own sense gratification, but you're doing them as an offering. And of those propensities, you can choose what will be your service in life, in the sense of your service to society. I want to come back to this and to conclude with this. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. This is saying that whatever it is we're doing is devotional service if where we are remembering Krishna. He is either in the forefront or the background of our mind. We know that we're doing this for him. Purport. This is the duty of everyone, to mold his life in such a way that he will not forget Krishna in any circumstance. Everyone has to work for maintenance of his body and soul together. And Krishna recommends herein that one should work for him. Everyone has to eat something to live. Therefore, he should accept the remnants of foodstuff offered to Krishna. Any civilized man has to perform some religious ritualistic ceremonies. Therefore, Krishna recommends, do it for me. And this is called archana, deity worship. Everyone has a tendency to give something in charity. Krishna says, give it to me. And this means that all surplus money accumulated should be utilized for furthering the Krishna consciousness movement. Nowadays, people are very much inclined to the meditational process, which is not practical in this age. But if anyone practices meditating on Krishna 24 hours a day by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra around his beads, the Hare Krishna mantra around his beads, he is surely the greatest meditator and the greatest yogi, as substantiated by the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So I want to discuss this purport a little bit. Give it to me. Krishna is saying everyone has the tendency to offer something to Krishna. Also in the Ishopanishad, it is elaborated further that these tendencies, the altruistic tendency, the humanitarian tendencies to want to do something for your country, for your town, there's nothing wrong with that, provided Krishna is in the center. So if you see people who are hungry and you want to do some charity, give them Krishna prasad. Prepare some nice offering or get a bag of oranges, offer them to Krishna to take to your neighbor. Every charity can be done in Krishna consciousness. You can feed people by giving them prasadam. You can give people the Maha Mantra by just saying Hare Krishna. You can, for those who are interested, share the Bhagavad Gita with them. You can use your surplus money to donate to the maintenance of the temple for the nice clothes and ornaments offered to Krishna or for prasadam distribution. So go ahead and do your charity. Whatever you do it for Krishna. Now, before we get off, I did want to read to you some of the 10th chapter because it's so sweet. And it's actually nice in the sense that it gives you the ability to see Krishna everywhere, to remember that Krishna is everywhere in all things. So I'm going to just search that up right now, and this will give you the opportunity to see how to use this. So I'm at the database. I'm going to go to search. I'm going to go to book. I'm going to choose the book, Bhagavad Gita. I'm going to choose. Usually you can go. Okay, let's go to a library. Bhagavad Gita. I'm going to go to the 10th chapter, the opulence of the absolute. I'm going to read this chapter, verses, not very long, and then we'll conclude there. And you can think about Krishna this way. This is given to us, particularly for people who are trying to develop the relationship with Krishna. They're trying to see Krishna everywhere, trying to remember Krishna always. And this helps us in that regard. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Listen again, O mighty armed Arjuna, because you are my dear friend. For your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all the worlds, he only, undiluted among men, is free from all sins. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and illusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy, all these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. The 7 great sages, and before them, the 4 other great sages, and the Manus, progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all living beings populating the various planets descend from them. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this, there is no doubt. I am the source of all the spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Arjuna said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages, such as Narada, Ashita, Devala, Vyasa, confirm this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring it to me. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency. O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe, please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all of these worlds. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you? And how shall I know you? And what various forms are you to be remembered? O Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this sense, we can see that Krishna is saying, he's going to say how he is the best of all things, but we can see that Krishna is saying of seasons, I am flower bearing spring. And that we know that spring in itself is not Krishna. It's inconceivable, and we have to accept that. We see that this flower-bearing spring is not eating ladus with his friends in Goloka Vrindavan. Yet Krishna is saying he has put his potency into those things. He is empowered. Those are the best of all. For instance, he says of women, I'm intelligence. So the greatest thing about women is their intelligence, their fine speech. That means that doesn't mean that I'm Krishna because I have intelligence. It means that Krishna has empowered women with intelligence. So we'll continue reading. He says, O Janardana, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I'm never satiated in hearing about you. For the more I hear about you, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent, O Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless. So these are his manifestations. He manifests plenary portions of himself, my splendorous manifestations. So here we go. I am the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Of lights, I am the radiant sun. Of the Maruts, I am Arichi. And among the stars, I am the moon. Of the Vedas, I am the Samaveda. Of the demigods, I am Indra, the king of heaven. Of the senses, I am the mind. And of the living beings, I am the living force. I want to interject one thing here. Krishna is saying of the senses, I am the mind. And he's asking Arjuna to control his mind. He's asking us to use our mind to remember him always. And Arjuna tells Krishna that the mind is difficult, impossible to control. And Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, the mind is difficult to control, but it can be done by practice, by determination. So when you're chanting on japa beads, when you're chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Continue to try to focus the mind on the sound of the holy name. It will seem difficult, it will seem impossible, but you must continue. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, it can be done. So continue to try. The senses, I am the mind. And in living beings, I'm the living force, consciousness. Of all the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Of the Yakshas and the Rakshasas, I am the Lord of Wealth, Kubera. Of the Vasus, I am fire, Agni. And of mountains, I am Meru. Of priests, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief, Brihaspati. Of generals, I am Kartikeya. And of bodies of water, I am the ocean. Of the great sages, I am Brigu. Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names, Japa. And of immovable things, I am the Himalayas. So the greatest sacrifice we can do is the Mahamantra meditation, the Japa meditation, the chanting of the holy names. Of all trees, I'm the banyan tree. Of the sages among the demigods, I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitrarata. And among perfected beings, I am sage Kapila. Of horses know me to be Uchaishvara, produced during the churning of the ocean of nectar. Of Lord the elephants, I am Aravata, and among men I am the monarch. Of weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am the Surabi. Of causes for procreation, I am Kandarpa, the god of love. And of serpents, I am Vasuki. Of the many hooded Nagas, I am Ananta. And among the aquatics, I am the demigod Varuna. Of departed ancestors, I am Aryama. And among the dispensers of law, I am Yama, the lord of death. Among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Prahlad. Among the subduers of time, among subduers, I am time. Among beasts, I am the lion. And among birds, I am Garuda. Of purifiers, I am the wind. Of wielders of weapons, I am Rama. Of fishes, I am the shark. And of flowing rivers, I am the Ganges. So notice that there are different degrees of plenary portions. Obviously, the wind, Krishna as the wind, is not equal to Rama, Lord Rama. So that's going back to what I was saying. There are portions, plenary portions of the Lord, and then there are portions of the plenary portions, like empowered living beings. Vedavyas is an empowered being, empowered by Krishna. So Krishna is saying, I am Vyasadeva. He's Vyasadeva in the sense that he has empowered Vyasadeva. He has put his power into Vyasadeva. Okay. Of all creations, I am the beginning and the end and also the middle. O Arjuna, of all sciences, I'm the science of the self, science of self-realization. And among logicians, I am the conclusive truth. Of letters, I am the letter A. And among compound words, I am the dual compound. I am also inexhaustible time. And of creators, I am Brahma. I am all devouring death, and I am the generating principle of all that is yet to be. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. Of the hymns in the Samaveda, I am the Brihat Sama, and of poetry, I am the Gayatri. Of months, I am Margashirsha, November, December. And of seasons, I am flower-bearing spring. I am also the gambling of cheats. Now, this can be, I've had some questions about this, so I'm just going to say that it's not that Krishna is saying we should cheat or that we should gamble, but here again, Krishna is the best in all things. And these are some of his manifestations. So gamblers are the best cheats. So he's saying, I am also the gambling of cheats. Our cheats are gamblers. And of the splendid, I am the splendor. I am victory. I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. O descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudeva. Of the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyas. And among great thinkers, I am Ushana. Among the means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment. And of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence. and of the wise I am wisdom. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existences. There is no being moving or non-moving that can exist without me. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Okay, I will conclude here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Please take note of the important points in this lecture. Please take note of your questions and deliver them to me, and I will continue to do this. I will make another lecture video so that you can have some guidance as you study Bhagavad Gita together. I'm so very happy that you are all interested in studying the Bhagavad Gita. Please chant Hare Krishna. Whatever you're doing, please try to improve it. Please try to increase it a little bit and improve it. Hare Krishna.